The Freedom Park National Heritage Site and the Defense Department are today commemorating the Matola Raid. At least 12 Umkhonto weSizwe guerrillas were killed by the apartheid regime during the attack in Mozambique in 1981. Families of the victims and survivor Mbulelo Musi are attending the commemoration in Pretoria, and Kylie Komalo is standing by to be in conversation with Mr. Musi. Kaya?
Well, that's right, Dudu. Quite a very poignant moment as, of course, we're reflecting to the 40-year anniversary since that very deadly attack in Matola, in a suburb in Maputo in Mozambique. So the families really are reconnecting with their loved ones, who departed. But also, most importantly, this comes as South Africa is trying to foster a new nation, but also not forgetting the history as well. But joining us now is one of the survivors, Mr. Musi, and of course, he has been reflecting about such a very important day. So, sir, thank you so much indeed for joining us here on eNCA. So once again, you were reflecting on those moments when the attack happened in Maputo. Take us through to that time, the 31st of January 1981.
Firstly, let me thank the opportunity to eNCA. Let me thank the opportunity to comrades of Umkhonto weSizwe, the families that lost their loved ones. Let me thank the world that supported us, including the people of Mozambique. And let me humble myself by saying this occasion to me is a painful reminder of the fact that freedom was not free. It came at a cost. And the cost was but these heroes that are enshrined in the wall of remembrance. It's a cost that also counts to those who died in Lesotho, those who died in Angola, those who died in Zambia, those who died across Southern Africa and the world. I humble myself to say to them, I salute, because we are free today because of their supreme sacrifices. I want to call my son to be here because I want the youth never to forget, but to know that our freedom was not free. It came at a price. And I pay homage to all the families that lost their beloved ones. In remembering these heroes and martyrs and many others, I just want to humble myself by saying, let's have our history corrected. We have Felix Makubane, who was riddled with no less than 20 bullets, who died when we were attacked. But his name is nowhere in many lists. It must be corrected. We have Utimba and Mtaka, who survived, like myself, thanks to God, who were able to come back home and integrate in the defense force, but they are written in the list as having died on that day. That hurts me, because it's an incorrect reflection of the history of Matola. So to me, this day is a day I want to say, South Africans, let's write our history correctly so that future generations like my son should know the truth and make sure that they understand where we come from. But even more importantly for me, these cadres belonged to the African National Congress. These cadres belonged to Umkhonto weSizwe. And what's going on in the ANC now, in the Umkhonto weSizwe, is quite worrying. Because these are cadres who taught us that, in the spirit of what the ANC has taught us, especially Oliver Tambo, When I left the country, I was only 18 years old. I'm 63 years now. One thing and one message he taught us, that it is important to have an African National Congress that's united. It is important to have Umkhonto weSizwe that's united, because through them, our nation can really become a rainbow nation, a nation at peace with itself, a nation with prosperity, a nation where we'll never again have poverty, inequality, and unemployment. Especially as we fight COVID-19, it's important that we reconnect ourselves with history in remembrance of these cadres. These cadres, if they were alive, they were going to tell us to fight COVID and defeat it, we need a united nation, a nation at peace with itself that works together across political parties. But even more importantly, an ANC, an eNCA, an SACP, and all the alliance structures that are united.
Okay, and also just in terms of their legacy, how do we make sure that with all the socioeconomic challenges we are facing, we're grappling with issues like corruption as well, how do we make sure that heroes like the Matola Raids, people who died there, they did not die in vain while we're grappling with all these challenges?
Certainly, if they were alive, they were going to be in the front line of making sure that we have no tolerance for corruption. We have no tolerance for all the malfeasances that we're experiencing in our society. It cannot be and should not be allowed that people who, for one reason or the other, would have influence in society, including positions of power, and they do what they do. So, to me, the message that they're driving to us in their death, in their sleeping, is to say we must have a society that fights corruption in all its facets, be it in the African National Congress, be it in the country, because corruption takes money and limited resources meant for the poorest of the poor, and therefore we still find people living in shacks, people who are unemployed. And therefore, to me, what it means today is that 40 years down the line, we must not forget that ours was nothing else but a better life for all our people, especially the poorest and most vulnerable of our society. It also says to us, through them, we must rededicate ourselves to fight against gender-based violence and respect women for what they are, because these are mothers who give us life.
All right, so thank you so much indeed for your time. So, of course, that's Mr. Musi, one of the survivors during the raid in Matola. That was 40 years ago. And most importantly, we do understand that South Africa and Mozambique do have a day of friendship. It was declared in light of the very deadly attack. But, of course, it's part of making sure that the history of South Africa is known by the younger generation and those who are yet to come.
Let's leave it there. Khumalo, thank you.